I'd come on the pitch and you'd get players going, oh, he's going to be fast because, you know, he's black.
Hello guys, you know what it is, it's Prince Crew. I'm here today to talk about racism within English football. And today I'm joined here with ex-semi-pro footballer
Ricky Gibbs.
So you're an ex-footballer, you know the score with football and racism. I don't need to fill you in, of course.
Yeah, I've had a little bit myself, just, you know, shades of it, but yeah, obviously everyone who saw what happened with the Chelsea game, you know, it's just a fillip for what happens more often than people actually see.
Now you said you suffered shades of it. Could you go into detail about that? Like what shades?
You'd get little jokes saying, oh, I'd come on the pitch and you'd get players going, oh, he's going to be fast because, you know, he's black and things like that.
So, certain racial jokes, that's what you experienced as a semi-professional footballer.
Yeah. Sometimes it wasn't very often, but you know, you could always sort of tell you weren't quite the same as them. You know, if you know what I mean. So,
what team was this that you played for?
I'm not gonna say.
Oh, you don't want to say? Okay, I understand that. So about Raheem Sterling, about what the fans were saying, you know, the black C word. I'm not going to say it on camera. As a ex-semi-pro footballer, were you surprised by this, or just what exactly?
I don't think it's so much as a footballer, just even as a person, you're not too surprised to hear it, you know, which is sad really. You should be surprised to hear it, but I think it's just a lack of education all round, to be honest, and that's about it. So yeah.
So a lack of education. Do you mean a lack of education for like football fans? Like the football fans are lacking education, or just a lack of education for people all around in general?
People around in general, I reckon, mostly for those who aren't educated enough. You know, obviously, for you to even describe someone as a black and say that word, you know, it's embarrassing, really. It's embarrassing on all accounts, whether you're a football fan or not. It's just embarrassing.
Do you think racism varies between football clubs?
No, racism has no context, so it doesn't vary between football clubs. And if you mean the amount of racism, like, you know, how racist one club is to another, I don't think so. It's not about the football clubs. It becomes about the people. The people, maybe where they grew up, maybe how they grew up, what they were taught or what they were not taught. I think it comes down to that more than anything else.
Do you think it's a generational thing? For example, with Raheem Sterling, it was quite a middle-aged elder person that was saying those racist chants.
It may be. I don't know, but then, you know, that means he was taught that. You know, he was taught things like that may have been okay when he was little. He might be teaching that to, you know, people younger than him. I'm sure he might be a role model to someone. So you can't really put a stamp on that one, really, whether to say it's a generational thing or not. So.
And of course, this isn't the first instance of racism in English football. A few players have had bananas thrown at them. Of course, I think it was an Arsenal match back in the day. Do you remember? What do you think? Has anything changed since then?
I don't. It's hard to say, really. It's hard to say. I wouldn't say nothing's changed, but we're still not, as a country, still not where we should be. Again, regarding football or in general, you know, You see things out on the street every day. You see things on the football pitch. You hear things on football, like in football stadiums, and really, these people, rather than something should be done about it, they need to be taught. Not that it's wrong, but that it shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be even made a point of in the first place.
Now, obviously, there was, I believe, 2 or 4 individuals that have been permanently banned that were involved with the Raheem Sterling racial issue. Do you believe that's a swift response and a just response?
To be fair, I wouldn't even blame the club themselves. The club's done what they can, really, which is to ban them from the stadium, but there's nothing more they can do. They can't control what's coming out of their mouth and all that sort of thing. So again, that's for it to be taught into society that not being racist is wrong. Just that colour is no issue. It makes no difference. Raheem's there to play football. Every black player that's playing is there to play football, just like every white player, just like every Asian player and every other player. They're all there just to play football. We don't judge, we don't say nothing, we just support the team. You can taunt, if you pay your money to get into the stadium, you can taunt opposition, etc., etc., but racism is definitely crossing the line with the taunting, because it is then beyond that. It is, verbal assault. So.
And Raheem Sterling, he commented on this on his Instagram. He also commented that the media also fuels stereotypes of black people, and this is like a domino effect with the racism that he suffered. What are your thoughts on that?
The example he gave was the perfect example, so you have to agree with him on that. The media also fuel a lot of stories and sort of lean one's mind into thinking a certain way with loads of things. So you can just put a headline of anything and it can mean anything, but the real story has been twisted badly. So the story he gave, the example he gave was of 2 Man City kids have bought houses for their mums, and you saw the headlines to twist it to paint a different picture. So that kind of says it all. So I guess it doesn't help, but it's also up to the people to not believe everything they read and have their own thoughts on things rather than just sort of be a drone to the news.
So would you agree that the racism that Raheem Sterling suffered wasn't just football racism, but a problem in general in our society?
Definitely. That is the point. It's highlighted because it's in football and it was in a big, high profile game, but it is a society problem within this country, and it always has been, and it's around nearly probably daily that we don't see, but people do experience it. And it sort of, I wouldn't say it's the catalyst, but I would say it doesn't help with the problems that are already there. It kind of adds to them. So, it's kind of like a cycle, and that's part of the cycle. So we end up with, a lot of things that have happened that aren't so good, stabbings and all sorts of things, retaliations and all these sort of things. A lot of things are to do with racism, jealousy, and even from the top right down to the bottom, really. So when it comes down to it, you can almost say who blames the guy, but at the same time, he should learn. And he should know better. He's a grown man. He should know better. It's as simple as that.
Do you believe that these permanent bans that these racists are getting will eventually make a change for racism, at least within football? Not like anytime soon, but eventually further down the line.
Probably not. Because it only takes a second to say something you're thinking, and if you're thinking that, then that's what's going to come out at the time, especially if you're you want to be hostile, and it's probably said more times than the cameras pick up. So and those people ain't getting banned out of stadiums, so I wouldn't say so at all. There's not too much the club can do except chuck them out the stadium. But hopefully, I don't want it. It shouldn't be what it takes for them to learn. But at least that's one less person that's going to cause that sort of controversy out the stadium.
So I would like to ask, what, in your opinion, can we do to stop further racist chants or further racist issues within Premier League matches or just in general?
The only thing I can think of is teach it as a life lesson, maybe even in school. That at the end of the day, colour doesn't matter. People are people. We are one race, human race, not split into section and given labels and given traits and etc. That everyone's just here. No one's a certain way because they're a certain colour or anything like that. It needs to be taught from young. And you could say maybe it's a parent's job, but if the parents aren't doing that job, then maybe it should be a school job. Who knows, really.
Well, not too long ago, there was another racist incident with Chelsea fans. In Paris, there was a black man trying to get onto a train, and the Chelsea fans were letting him on. They were pushing him off, chanting "We're racist," and we're proud of it, or we like it. What are your opinions on that? Do you think that maybe Chelsea, the football team, does have a few more racists in it than average football teams?
I guess I wouldn't say so, but then you've got to sort of even take it just outside of the football stadium and then think of the area. And if you think of the area, Chelsea, the area is one of the richest, places in Europe. Kensington and Chelsea itself is one of the richest boroughs in Europe. So, and when we start going into all that, then the lack of education becomes clear, or what they are taught becomes clear, and then the result is racism and clear incidents of racism, clear public incidents of racism. So I still wouldn't say that makes them more. I just think it sort of carries a pattern to it, culminating in what you saw in Paris.
So you believe that the area of Chelsea is out of touch and also has a prejudice issue?
I wouldn't say out of touch. I would just say it contributes to racism in the end. Skip the pleasantries. It contributes to racism in the end because of how wealthy the place is, and with wealth you don't, especially in England, how many black men and women do you see that are wealthy, and I'm talking about rich lists that aren't sportsmen and stuff, just business. And in the end, the stats don't add up, and then for that you start coming down the ladder, and you get to why these sort of things have happened with Chelsea twice, for example. It could be anyone. It just happened to be Chelsea twice, but I wouldn't say it's anything to do with the football club again.
So you say has nothing to do with the football club, it's down to the area. So are you saying that more wealthy areas or more, because let's say Chelsea's not a diverse area, it's quite a white middle class area, isn't it? So do you agree that possibly like the white middle class areas have a more higher risk of being prejudiced than other areas?
I would say that yes, because of history. History says so. I'm not gonna go into that because we'll be here all night, but history says so.
Well, okay, thanks for the interview, Ricky. It was well done. Cheers, man. That's a wrap, guys.